Hello, everybody. k8gb community meeting, 26 June 2024. Sharing. Finally found the share button. Okay, cool. So today's agenda. Thanks everybody for joining. Please add yourself to the attendees list. And yeah, first big news. Until is joining. Let's wait for him for a minute. Hey, Theo, you around?
Hello, yes, I am.
Hey, welcome. So first, big news, k8gb community manager joins the team. So who he is? Can you guess, Nuno? Who's our new community manager?
I think it's the box next to mine on the thumbnails, at least on my screen.
There's two in between.
I'll send you the screenshot later.
Yeah, so Bradley, welcome to the project officially now. And maybe if you want to take over and speak about what will be your role and all the stuff, please take the stage.
Yeah, sure. So I live in Basel, Switzerland. I'm a technical account manager usually. For 20 years or so before I became a technical account manager, I was pretending to be a developer. I'm from Vermont in the US originally. Right now I'm on vacation in sunny Hamburg, Germany. And yeah, I am here to try to help grow the project and the people who are using the project. So have a very short few slides that I can show if you want to see them, just so I can, because I actually have no idea what a community manager does. So I made a few slides to try to organize the thoughts there and show other people what I think a community manager does. Let me do this. There we go. Can you see it? Nuno, you love my slides. Anyway, hopefully it's not too loud. I'm in a busy hotel here, so hopefully you can hear me. But just a couple of slides. The big thing is there's a lot of stuff to do to try to grow a project, right? We want to get the project through the stages, get more people using the project, mature the project. And so Yuri reached out to me and said, hey, there's a lot of TAM-like stuff that's required for this kind of thing. Maybe you want to help do that. So one of the big bullet points is that a community manager supports the contributor maintainer experience, right? So there's a code of conduct, there's docs which need to be reviewed and maintained. There's member health that we take a look at. So a bunch of people might be contributing one month and not the next month. We might want to know why that is. Might want to get more people on board helping with things. Community manager also helps to organize events. So find conferences, promote talks that people are giving, manage logistics to follow up the talk, maybe identify knowledge gaps to have workshops for topics for workshops, maybe set up webinars and meetings. It supports communication. So social media, there's a lot of stuff involved there. So determining who, what, when, how to share updates, for example, even having the social media channels open. So, having LinkedIn, having Twitter, having kind of policies around sending out notifications through those channels is important. Monitoring GitHub pull requests, monitoring discussions, monitoring Slack questions, looking for unanswered questions, encouraging transparency, those kind of things, and monitoring the project health. So this is actually a copy. So there's a broken image link there. That was a Pokeball. That meant it was basically got to catch them all. So find the adopters, right? Find out who all the people are who are adopting. Get them to come on and admit that they're adopting if they're allowed to, and help find other adopters, right? And help promote adopters and help adopters promote us. So also monitoring project health. So looking at vanity and non-vanity metrics. So vanity metrics are things like GitHub stars, right? Non-vanity metrics might be, what kind of contributions, quality of contributions that we're getting from folks. So that's like a 2-minute overview. The things that I want to try to look at first are the docs. So I've read a couple of things and I've talked with a couple of people who've done this kind of role before, and they said the docs need to be tight. You need to make sure there's a code of conduct there. You need to make sure people know how to become a maintainer in the project. Need to get all the social set up. So there's nothing on Twitter yet, I think, because it requires a separate phone number, so that's a different thing. But there is a Slack. Of course, as you know, with CNCF, there's GitHub, there's YouTube, there's LinkedIn set up now. And then finding people to come to these bi-weekly community meetings, for example. So that's the super high level of what I'm looking at trying to do. I don't know if anybody has questions or if you have some other ideas there, but I'll stop talking for now. And one thing I will say is initially there's a lot of stuff to be done, and my plan is to spend roughly 10% of my working time per week in the next little while just to get things fired up, ramped up.
Yeah, that is amazing. Thank you for joining, Bradley. And maybe like to provide a context for the rest of the folks. We have a long history with Bradley. We worked very closely in Abound Lands, and Bradley rocks. So he can take all of non-technical work and take the project to next level. So first task is to get k8gb to incubation in 2 weeks. So Bradley is on this task. Yeah, but the jokes aside, all of the consistent taking care of the project will be super helpful. I personally always cannot find all the time that I want to spend on non-technical stuff. So thank you so much for joining. I believe it will take all the project visibility and consistency of all the organization to the next level. So thank you so much, man. Guys, do we have any questions around a new addition to the team?
Just a comment, Bradley. Feel free to nag everyone as much as you want, and get us helping you push this forward.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Good at follow-up emails, you know.
All right, folks. Let's continue with the standard agenda. So, last call for co-speaking. It's actually, the call was accepted, the talk was accepted. We are there in a schedule. I assume, I'm not 100% sure, but I assume if somebody wants to join as a co-speaker, I can still convince the organizers to convert it to dual talk. So let me know. I will not be pushing like right now. If you have a confidence right now, please speak up. If not, then just think about it, right? It's in Vienna, it's in September. It's not so far away for European folks. So, but I assume like the decision should be made in as soon as possible because the schedule is already published, right? So the more time passes, the less chances to modify the final schedule, right? So please let me know. Otherwise,
yeah. Maybe try to ping Jerzy explicitly. He's from Brno and it's just like 50 kilometers from Vienna. So maybe
makes sense.
Doesn't watch this, so just ping him explicitly.
Yeah, good idea. I know he's currently super busy with his new startup, k8gb. But let's see, maybe he will find some time for k8gb talk. Good idea, Michael. Thank you. All right, so let's proceed with an agenda. We still have this release pipeline thing, the scorecard. I plan to handle it with the next release attempt, but hopefully it will be soon. And yeah, let's go through the PRs. So the new resource ref, right? So super important contribution by Andrea that will enable a whole new era of k8gb by ability to actually make a relax decoupled resource reference. So in this example, we are already decoupling from ingress. So I found this issue during the exploratory, like a final end-to-end test. I actually was super close to merge it, but luckily I managed to catch this namespace resolution stuff, and looks like Andre, you already fixed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah,
Maybe
it is a new scenario now, because as the resources are decoupled, they can be deployed to different namespaces. So just by doing a simple then check or filtering for the relevant namespace, it could be fixed. Yeah, it was a great catch. Yeah.
No, thank you so much for the quick fix. So yeah, that is just great, and I will retest it, and I target to merge this one in this week. Yeah, most probably if we merge it this week, then I will postpone release, and we will include both Azure and the new resource ref in the next release, and it will be kind of important one. Yeah, to smaller stuff, Go releaser BuildX. So I was using a relatively new local target modification. So visibility to test the local image right on your machine, right? And somehow it doesn't work on my setup anymore. And I figure out that and it doesn't work with a situation that local Docker images are not appearing in the Docker image list at all. So import to a Cayenne cluster basically fails. So I switched the Go releaser to use BuildX, and it fixed the problem. So it also, like, properly lists the local images in I assume modern common BuildX setup, and it's in general it's known like it's provides a faster build, so and pipelines are happy. So I think it's a small good change, and yeah, it defaults to standard old Docker one in a Go releaser documentation. So that's why explicit BuildX switch in Go releaser YAML was required. Renovate. Yeah, this is for dependency update. Andre, do you want to shortly cover it? It's
Yes,
already
sure.
merged, but just yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So could you actually go to issues and then to go to the dependency dashboard?
Yeah, sure.
That one on top.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So what that change is, or we had a PR called, or it's the bottom one update all non-major dependencies. Link there in the open, and then we have some links a bit below. Yeah,
This guy,
that
right?
one. And that one was huge because it contains so many dependencies and it was not passing. The build was not passing. And that is because that was because versions or bumps of libraries that are on major 0 may contain breaking changes, and that was the case. After the PR was merged, actually this one was passing. I have to understand why it is not, because the goal is to have this PR passing 99% of the times the build. I'll try to reproduce this locally. I did not find anything obvious yet, and I was even considering to set the configuration to have an auto merge for this one. Then if we go to the dashboard again.
Yeah, let me rerun this one if you don't mind. I think there's still like a case of false positives, so just to see. I mean, it's not nice, but it happens much more rarely than before. So before we had like, quite a challenge of creating false positives and false negatives, to be precise. But now we have it much more stable, but sometimes a very end-to-end tests like the third test pipeline can still fail. So let's see.
Okay, let's see. Yeah. So now, yeah, in the dashboard, so what we have right now is we would have a few other PRs. So in the rate limited part, there are update Kubernetes packages to version 0.30, controller runtime 0.18.4, and external DNS 0.14.2. So the last three in those in that header bit. So those are new, and those are the ones that we want to tackle separately, because those will bring breaking changes and we will need to touch them. And that was something that also Michal saw a few weeks ago when trying to bump dependencies. So I think this will help our work. The issue now is that there is a rate limiting of 5 PRs. So we have 5 PRs open. We can either force the creation of the PRs by ticking some of the checkboxes, but I guess it can be a good idea to increase the number of concurrent PRs. I can create a pull request for that.
Cool.
Yeah, and then I would like to tackle those and see why it's not passing, and make or fix all the breaking changes. Because then, of course, we have interest in having the dependencies up to date, and when integrating with Istio and importing Istio libraries, they require, or to go to the latest version, they required also the latest version of those. So that would enable future work.
Yeah, that looks great. So each of these one will be like a separate, right? And these are like a combined.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly.
Okay. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, that is much better layout than we had before. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit back to the reference part. So Andre, if you can describe what's your next plan for like after we merge the decoupling, do you plan to tackle like this Istio gateway in reference style integration?
Yes, that would be my plan. So with the decoupling now we can reference ingress resources. So it's fully backwards compatible, and we have an additional functionality where we can reference an ingress. So we could deploy an ingress, and we can deploy a k8gb referencing that ingress, and we would have all the same functionality. So in the GSLB resource, we would define the strategy and the ingress we want to point to. And this enables us to then reference any other forms of ingress, not only Kubernetes ingress. And I would be very interested to add the capability to reference then Istio virtual services, and that would then enable the adoption of k8gb by all the people that are using Istio ingress. And then something that can come in the future is the gateway API that is being the new standard developed by Kubernetes. And once that is more stable and we have experience, or someone with experience using it, then that would be the next step. But yes, so for short future, bumping dependencies and then going for Istio integration.
Yeah, sounds great. And dependencies, I think like you have an intersecting goal with Michal, right? So both of you like trying to bump a core dependency, so the project to unblock specific further development.
Yes,
so,
yeah, we need to sync, but I saw Michal already has a draft PR, so maybe he already got everything he needed, but we'll check later.
Cool. Yeah, and by the way, I applied for KubeCon A for this story of k8gb extension, like integration with all the possible gateways around, and actually like this huge new story that your implementation opens. So and we already discussed the one main talk that I applied, right? But I also applied so there's like two waves in a KubeCon application. One is a standard talks, right? The presentations, and another one is project specific wave of applications that comes a little bit later. So if you most probably received the invitation to Contrib Fest and Lightning Talk. So there is no assurance that they will be accepted, but we will see. So that's a nice way to present a project. So last time we did it on the European one with Nuno, so it was a great experience. Lightning Talk was accepted pretty well, and the current request was a pleasure And on this iteration of the contrib fest, we can actually execute the flow of adding new resource, new integration, utilizing the resource reference, right? So some, you know, sample easiest one, and we can actually like educate both ourselves and the community how to integrate in the most easiest way. So I think that might be powerful.
Yeah, great to hear. Yeah, I'll check in detail the invitations. But yeah, I would be very interested to attend and to help out. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, so if you could just accept them like in a sessionized, so it is visible by organizers. And so if something changes, we can always talk to them, but it will be much easier. Like if it is accepted, then both speakers are in and both of us are getting these free tickets to KubeCon.
Yeah,
So
I'll
just in
definitely
case.
do that. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so for dependency upgrades, all of this is merged. Michal, do you have any specific next iterations from your side?
Yeah. I didn't finish the this foundation. Basically, currently it is in the state when you create like a new project with the controller again, you have the same libraries or the same dependencies for the controller runtime and Kubernetes SDK. And if I bump it, basically I need to do some refactoring in our code, plus modify the tests. And Terra's tests are not working. Basically, I was in a situation that I had some issues with my laptop settings because it's behind the Zscaler, etc. And also I had to do some extra settings and had a blocker with had a blocker to be able to run Terra test locally, but did not help me a lot to unblock me. I'd like to bump do the last part of this, which is the bump controller runtime and Kubernetes SDK dependencies, and we will see if it will work. Because if I did it, it's still not running in Terra testing pipelines. You know, so as I thought, I had to do it locally to be able to find the issues. So that's my plan. And after that, I will concentrate on the issue, on the bug, where if the annotation is changed, it's automatically replaced by vouchers, you know, and annotation stays as it is. So k8gb can get the cycles in special, and it reconciles in the loops in the special cases.
So is it for the case when we
It is for the case. It is for the case when Rancher puts annotation into the ingress, for instance, and because we have two source of truth, which is GSLB and ingress, depending on how you created the GSLB, whether from the ingress or from the GSLB itself, it starts to put annotations into the original state and reconciliation starts. So k8gb start to reconcile like it loops.
so they're fighting for the same field of annotations, right?
Yeah, it's fighting. So once I've solved this, I need to switch to that bug.
But is Rancher overwriting the annotations or
k8gb Rancher is adding the annotation by itself, and k8gb remove it in our setups.
Okay, so k8gb is actually intrinsic here.
Because,
okay,
exactly.
So we need to patch this only with single annotation, and instead we are doing the whole.
And there is I guess there is some PR I did like 2 years ago, but PR wasn't approved. But basically, I will look at it, but it's not in state that we can immediately like merge it. There was some solution 2 years ago, and I need to go through.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. And last 5 minutes, I wanted to discuss the release plans. So just go through you folks and if it makes sense. So my initial plan was to release like as soon as possible because we have quite a huge release window. The last one was in December, and just include dependency bump and Azure support and announce it. So it's kind of good enough. The next one is a resource reference capability created by Andre. And the next one is to add the final GCP support and claim that we support all three hyperscalers, kind of for zone delegation creation, right? But given that this one for resource reference is very close to be merged, I think we can combine both of them and release this or early next week. Does it sound good? I will be especially interested in feedback from folks who are familiar with release pipelines, because I assume as we run them rarely, they will be failing, and I will be fixing them, and I will need a review fast. So it might be quite an involving process. Does it sound like a plan? Core maintainers, Michal, Dinner, all good? Cool. So I will proceed with release then. So Yuri. And for GCP support, does anybody here by a pure coincidence has access to GCP environment to test stuff out? As in when, for example, some of us create the PR, we need a full end-to-end test. Who has the power? Nulla has the power, as usual. Nice. That's amazing news. Can provide test environment. Thank you so much. That's super important. Very nice. So in that case, it might be much faster than I expected. Cool. So I guess that's it. If anybody has additional things to add, otherwise we can wrap up the meeting.
I just wanted to say it was good seeing half of you again. It's good meeting the other half.
Yeah.
Hope you all have a great day.
Yeah, welcome on the board, Bradley.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, folks. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
See you, bye.
But